As part of staying compliant with the SHADS Award, leave entitlements form another major part of businesses' obligations. So here's what you need to know. The National Employment Standards, which we've done another video on, dictate the minimum leave entitlements for employees. These include annual leave, personal and carers leave, such as sick leave, compassionate leave, community service leave, and long service leave. In part 6 of our SHADS online course, we go through each of these and unpack exactly what you need to know, how to interpret it, and what you should be paying your employees so that you're remaining compliant and avoiding the wrath of Fair Work. Also, make sure you check out our playlist containing the rest of this course. I've left a link in the description box below. And if you work in a business under the SHADS Award and you need to include this as part of your CPD or you need a certificate, we have a paid version of the course that will also issue you with that certificate when you complete it. It also includes bonus tools like our SHADS compliance checklist to help you with processing payroll, and we keep the course 100% updated as changes come through with the SHADS Award. I've also left links to access it below. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start with annual leave. Every full-time employee in Australia is entitled to at least 4 weeks of paid annual leave per year they've worked, with part-time employees entitled to pro-rata paid leave, so it'll be calculated based on the number of hours they work. Shift workers are entitled to 5 weeks of paid annual leave if they are available 7 days a week and regularly rostered to work on Sundays and public holidays. Take note that employees who perform at least 8 24-hour care shifts during the year will now be considered shift workers for the purposes of the National Employment Standards and are entitled to 1 extra week of annual leave.
Under the NES, employees are entitled to be paid at their normal pay rate during their leave period, but some employees also get an extra loading percentage on top of their weekly wage, depending on their award, agreement, or employer. This additional payment is known as leave loading. Annual leave loading essentially helps compensate employees for expenses during annual leave. Under the SHADS Award, leave loading is usually an extra 17.5% on top of the employee's normal wage for the time period taken off, or weekend and shift penalties the employee would have received if they weren't on leave during that period, if that ends up being more. If a full-time employee applies for leave between Thursday this week and Wednesday next week, he or she would typically work 8 hours of shift work on a Saturday. The employer must calculate 38 hours, include a 17.5% leave loading, and compare with how much the employee will typically receive if they had been paid working across that period with the Saturday penalty rates. Whichever of the two calculations is higher is how much the employee should be paid across that period of time, not for individual days. The idea is that the employee is protected from being paid less for paid annual leave. It's important to note that if you or your employee terminates the work agreement and they have leave days left over, you must include all unused annual leave as part of their final pay. The next type of leave your employee is entitled to is personal and carers leave. It's also sometimes called sick and carers leave. This type of leave lets employees take time off to help them deal with personal illness, caring responsibilities, and family emergencies. Before the carers leave can be approved, you'll need to make sure that they're taking the time of care for a member of their immediate family or household. The NES sets out who is considered immediate family, and you can find the link in the description box below. Your employees, except casual employees, are entitled to take 10 paid leave days for each year they have worked for your company. If one of your staff members takes off more personal or care leave days than what they have built up, then the leave will be unpaid. Now, casual employees are not entitled to paid personal leave entitlements. They're still entitled to take 2 days of unpaid personal or carers leave. You also get compassionate leave, which is a different type of entitlement to personal or carers leave. If a member of an employee's immediate family or household dies or contracts a life-threatening illness or injury, an employee should be allowed to take compassionate leave. Full-time and part-time employees can get paid compassionate leave, but casual employees can only apply for unpaid compassionate leave. An employee will usually get 2 days per occasion that an employee's immediate family or household member dies or suffers a life-threatening illness or injury. Next up, we have community service leave. All employees are entitled to be absent from work to undertake voluntary community emergency activities or jury service. There is no set limit on how much leave you can take, but it's generally unpaid unless it's jury duty. If the leave is for jury duty, employees usually get make-up pay for up to the first 10 days they miss work because of jury service. Make-up pay is the difference between your ordinary pay and what you are paid for jury service. Okay, lastly, let's talk about long service leave. Long service leave is a period of paid leave for employees who have been working with the same employer for a long period of time. Long service leave is generally paid at an employee's ordinary pay rate, but it's all dependent on your state or territory laws. For example, in New South Wales, if you have been working for the same employer for 10 years, you are allowed up to 2 months of paid leave at your ordinary weekly wage. But in Victoria, you get 1 week for every 60 weeks of continuous employment, and you'll qualify to take your leave after 7 years. So there you have it, guys. When your employee can take leave and your obligations in terms of payroll when they do take leave. See you in the next module.